At the picnic, my sister said, to the relative who thinks paying bills makes them important. My parents burst out laughing. I smiled, raised my drink and said, then tonight you'll all learn how unimportant I am. My dad's hand froze mid-sip. The weird thing about family humiliation is that it often starts as a joke. By the time my sister said it, everyone at the picnic table already had drinks in their hands and sunburns on their necks. It was one of those big Saturday cookouts my parents insisted on every summer. Burgers on the grill. Kids running around the yard. Plastic chairs sinking into the grass. And my money had paid for most of it. I had covered the groceries, the propane tank for the grill, and the electric bill for my parents' house earlier that week. That had become normal lately. My job at a logistics company had taken off last year, and suddenly everyone's temporary help started becoming permanent. I didn't mind at first. Family helps family. That was the line everyone liked repeating. My sister Rachel liked repeating it the most. She was sitting across from me at the picnic table, sunglasses on her head, scrolling her phone like she was bored with all of us. Her son Tyler was chasing my daughter Lily through the yard with a squirt gun. My dad was halfway through a beer. My mom was passing out potato salad. Everything looked normal. Then Rachel suddenly raised her voice just enough for the whole table to hear. To the relative who thinks paying bills makes them important. My parents burst out laughing like she had just delivered the best joke of the summer. I smiled. I raised my drink. Then tonight you'll all learn how unimportant I am. My dad's hand froze halfway to his mouth. No one laughed that time. Rachel rolled her eyes. Oh, relax, Stacy. I was joking. Of course you were. I took a slow sip and watched them carefully. The truth was, this hadn't come out of nowhere. For the last 8 months I had been quietly paying things nobody else wanted to deal with. My parents' mortgage when my dad's construction hours got cut. My mom's medication when insurance started playing games. Rachel's rent when she needed a few weeks to get back on her feet. Those few weeks had turned into 6 months. And somehow I had become the punchline. My mom waved her hand like she was brushing away smoke. Rachel didn't mean anything by it. Rachel shrugged. Yeah. Don't be dramatic. That word again. Dramatic. Funny how the person carrying everyone else's weight is always the dramatic one. Across the yard, Lily ran past the table laughing while Tyler chased her. For a moment I watched them instead of answering. Kids don't know anything about adult freeloading yet. To them the world is still fair. I almost envied that. Rachel leaned back in her chair. You act like you run the family or something. I looked at her. You want honesty? She shrugged again. Sure. You'd all be in serious trouble if I actually stopped. Rachel snorted. Please. We survived before you started playing hero. My dad finally took his sip of beer and cleared his throat. Let's not turn this into something stupid. But the strange thing was I wasn't angry. Not yet. I was just paying attention. Rachel picked up a burger and started eating like the conversation was over. Anyway, she said with her mouth half full, I'm meeting some friends later tonight. That's good. She glanced at me. You still covering the internet bill this month? There was the casual assumption. Like it was already decided. I set my cup down on the table. I don't know. Rachel laughed. What do you mean you don't know? I mean I haven't decided. My mom frowned. Stacy. Rachel shook her head like she couldn't believe I was even hesitating. God, you're acting like I asked for a car. No, I said. Just your lifestyle. My dad sighed heavily. Enough. Rachel leaned forward. You know what your problem is? I waited. You think money makes you the responsible one. I nodded slowly. No. Then I looked directly at her. I think responsibility makes me the responsible one. She rolled her eyes again and stood up. I'm getting another drink. She walked toward the cooler like nothing had happened. But the table had gone quiet. My mom started rearranging plates that didn't need rearranging. My dad stared out toward the yard. And I sat there thinking about something Rachel had just said. We survived before you started playing hero. Maybe she was right. Maybe it was time to see how well everyone survived again. Across the yard, Tyler suddenly shoved Lily hard enough that she fell into the grass. He started crying. Rachel didn't even turn around. That was the moment something inside me shifted. Not anger. Something colder. Because suddenly I realized something important. Rachel thought I was bluffing. And very soon she was going to find out I wasn't. Part 2 is where things start getting messy. I didn't make a scene when Lily fell. I walked across the yard, helped her up, brushed the grass off her knees, and handed her the lemonade she had dropped. Tyler had already run off like nothing happened. Did he push you? I asked. She nodded. Why? He said the yard is his. I looked toward the patio. Rachel was laughing with my mom near the cooler, telling some story with big hand gestures. Tyler was already back to playing like the last 30 seconds never existed. I told Lily to sit on the swing for a minute and went back to the table. Rachel was opening another drink when I sat down. Your son pushed Lily, I said. She didn't even look concerned. Kids push each other. She fell. Rachel shrugged. Well, tell her to push back. My dad cleared his throat again the way he always did when he wanted tension to disappear without actually addressing it. They're just playing. I looked at him. She's 6. Rachel leaned against the cooler. Tyler's 8. It's not a crime. No apology. No correction. Just excuses. That was becoming Rachel's specialty. I watched her for a moment thinking about all the numbers I had memorized over the last year. The mortgage payment. The internet bill. The electric. The credit card my parents quietly handed me when things got tight. Rachel snapped her fingers in front of my face. You're doing that thing again. What thing? Where you stare like you're calculating something. I smiled. Maybe I am. My mom tried to lighten the mood. Stacy's always been the organized one. Rachel laughed. Oh yeah, Miss Spreadsheet. That nickname came from the fact that I actually tracked the money I gave people. Not because I wanted to collect it back but because I wanted to know where it was going. Rachel used to mock me for it, but she never asked to see the numbers. Probably because deep down she knew what they would say. Later that evening the picnic slowly started breaking up. My dad went inside to watch baseball. My mom started stacking paper plates in a trash bag. Rachel sat on the patio scrolling her phone again. Lily came over and sat next to me. Can we go home soon? Yeah. Tyler keeps saying I can't play here. That did it. I stood up and walked over to Rachel. You need to talk to your son. She didn't look up. About what? He's bullying Lily. Rachel finally glanced at me. He's a kid. And she's a kid. So you need to parent him. Rachel sighed like I had asked her to solve world hunger. Tyler. He jogged over from the yard. What? Rachel pointed vaguely at Lily. Don't be mean to your cousin. Okay. Then he ran off again. Rachel looked at me like the problem had been solved. Happy? No. Well, that's all I'm doing. She grabbed her bag. I'm heading out. My mom looked surprised. You're leaving already? Yeah. I've got plans. She walked past me toward the driveway. Right before getting into her car, she turned around. Oh, and Stacy? I waited. Don't forget the internet bill's due Monday. Then she got in her car and drove away. My mom sighed. She's just stressed. From what? Being a single mom isn't easy. I didn't answer. Because technically Rachel had been a single mom for 8 years. But the last year she'd had something new. A second income. When Lily and I got home that night she went straight to bed. I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop. I opened my spreadsheet. There were more rows than I remembered. Mortgage assistance. Electric bills. Groceries. Car repair. Rachel's rent. Phone bills. Random emergencies that somehow always appeared right before the first of the month. I added everything together. The number sat on the screen like it had weight. Then I opened another tab. My bank app. For the first time in almost a year, I hovered over the scheduled payments. Internet bill. Electric. Auto insurance. Rent transfer to Rachel. One by one I clicked cancel. It took less than 30 seconds. When I closed the laptop the house was completely quiet. And for the first time in months something felt different. Not relief. Not guilt. Just stillness. Rachel thought my comment at the picnic had been a dramatic moment. But the truth was much simpler. That sentence hadn't been a threat. It had been a warning. And the next few weeks were about to show everyone exactly what unimportant really meant. Monday morning started quietly. Too quietly. I was dropping Lily off at school when my phone buzzed for the first time. I let it ring. 30 seconds later it rang again. Then a third time. I finally answered while sitting in the parking lot. What? Did you cancel the internet? No hello. No small talk. Straight to the problem. Yes. Silence for 2 seconds. Why? I told you at the picnic. I'm done paying for things. Rachel laughed like I had just said something ridiculous. Very funny. Turn it back on. I can't. What do you mean you can't? I canceled the payment. You can just send it again. I could. Another pause. Then her voice changed. Stacy, I need the internet. Tyler has school stuff. You have a job. It's part-time. You have rent money. That's different. I almost asked how. Instead I said, you'll figure it out. She hung up on me. That was the first call. The second came from my mom around noon. Rachel says the internet shut off. It did. Did something happen? No. So, why? I'm not paying it anymore. He sounded confused. But you always have. Not anymore. My mom went quiet for a moment. Well, maybe just this month. I looked at the stack of shipping reports on my desk. No. Stacy. I mean it. She sighed. You know Rachel struggles. So does everyone. That's not the same. Why? She has a child. So do I. That ended the conversation. By that evening the family group chat was active again for the first time in months. Rachel had started it. Rachel, internet is off because Miss Important decided to make a point. Mom, girls please. Dad, we can talk tonight. Rachel, yeah we will. I didn't answer. Instead I picked Lily up from school and took her for ice cream. We sat outside the little shop near the park. She had chocolate all over her hands. Mom. Yeah. Are we still going to Grandma's this weekend? I don't know yet. Tyler says we can't come anymore. I felt something tighten in my chest. Did he say that today? She nodded. He said his mom said we think we're better than them. I stared at the table. Rachel was already talking about me at home. Great. Did he push you again? No. Good. Then Lily asked something I didn't expect. Why are adults always mad about money? I smiled a little. Because some people think money fixes their problems. And it doesn't? No. What fixes them? Responsibility. She thought about that while licking her ice cream. That night the third call came. My dad. Rachel came by earlier. I figured. She's upset. I know. She says you're punishing her. I'm not punishing anyone. Then what are you doing? I leaned back in my chair. Stopping. Stopping what? Everything. He didn't answer for a while. You know your mother and I rely on that help sometimes. I know. And Rachel does too. I know. So you're just cutting it off? For now. My dad sighed heavily. You're going to cause a lot of tension. Maybe. You could have handled this differently. Like how? Talk to us first. Thought about the picnic. About Rachel's toast. About my parents laughing. I did. The line went quiet. Then he said something that stuck with me. Rachel thinks you're trying to control everyone. That made me laugh for the first time all day. I'm not controlling anyone. Then what? I'm giving everyone exactly what they asked for. What does that mean? Rachel said paying bills doesn't make someone important. He didn't reply. So I'm proving her right. The next 3 days were calm. Too calm. No more calls. No group chat arguments. Nothing. Then Friday afternoon Lily came home from school with red eyes. I knelt down. What happened? She hesitated. Then she said something that made my stomach drop. Tyler told everyone my mom is cheap now. I slowly stood up. Who told him that? He shrugged. He said his mom did. That was the moment I realized something. Rachel wasn't just angry. She was turning it into a story. A story where I was the villain. And if she was willing to drag Lily into it, then the next step was going to be a lot bigger than canceled bills. That was the night I decided something important. If Rachel wanted a fight, he was finally going to get one. Saturday morning I drove to my parents' house earlier than usual. I didn't tell anyone I was coming. The yard still looked the same as last weekend. Same chairs. Same grill. My dad was on the porch with coffee when I pulled up. He looked surprised. You're early. I wanted to talk. He nodded slowly and opened the screen door. Inside, my mom was in the kitchen making pancakes. Rachel was already there, sitting at the table with Tyler, scrolling her phone. The moment she saw me, she smirked. Well, look who decided to show up. I sat down across from her. Good morning. Tyler looked at me for a second, then back at his cereal. Rachel leaned back in her chair. Internet's still off, by the way. I know. You going to fix it? No. My mom placed a plate on the table like she hadn't heard the last 2 sentences. Everyone eat first. Rachel laughed. Oh no, let's talk now. I stayed calm. Fine. She folded her arms. You embarrassed me this week. How? You cut off the internet without warning. I warned you at the picnic. That wasn't serious. It was. Rachel shook her head. You're acting like we owe you something. You don't. Then why are you doing this? Because I'm done. That made my mom finally look up. Done with what? Paying for everything. Rachel rolled her eyes. You weren't paying for everything. I pulled my phone out and opened the spreadsheet. I tracked it. Rachel laughed again. Oh, here we go. I turned the screen toward the table. Rent transfers. Utility bills. Groceries. Car repairs. Medical copays. The list scrolled longer than anyone expected. My dad leaned closer. You kept record of all this? Yes. Rachel didn't even look. This is ridiculous. It's accurate. My mom quietly sat down. Stacy, this is a lot. Rachel pushed the phone back toward me. So what, you want a medal? No. Then what's the point? The point is simple. I closed the spreadsheet. I'm done helping you. Rachel smirked. Okay. No hesitation. No concern. Just confidence. That was the unexpected part. She wasn't worried. He thought someone else would step in. Probably our parents. Rachel stood up and grabbed her keys. You'll calm down in a few days. I won't. You always do. He looked at my mom. Right. My mom didn't answer. Rachel pointed toward me. She likes playing hero. It's a phase. Then she walked toward the door. Before leaving, she turned around one more time. Oh, and Stacy. I waited. You don't scare me with money. Then she left. The house stayed quiet for a moment. My dad finally spoke. You two need to figure this out. I already did. My mom looked worried. You're really not helping her anymore? No. What if she can't manage? That's her responsibility. My dad leaned back in his chair. You're serious? Yes. Then I said the part one came to say. If you two start covering her bills instead. They both looked at me. I stop helping here too. My mom blinked. You'd cut us off? I'd stop paying for things, yes. The kitchen went completely silent. My dad rubbed his forehead. That's a hard line. It's a clear one. My mom spoke quietly. Rachel won't like this. She already doesn't. My dad looked out the window for a long moment. Then he said something unexpected. You know what the real problem is? What? We've been making Rachel comfortable for too long. My mom looked at him. David. He shook his head. No, she's right. He pointed at the phone on the table. That list proves it. For the first time since the picnic, someone was actually acknowledging the situation. My mom looked torn. She's still our daughter. And she still needs to grow up. Another silence filled the kitchen. Then my mom slowly nodded. We won't pay her bills. That decision changed everything. But Rachel didn't know it yet. 2 weeks passed after that conversation. Then one afternoon Lily came home from school upset again. What happened now? She hesitated before answering. Tyler told everyone we might lose Grandma's house because of you. I stared at her. Did he say his mom told him that? She nodded. I exhaled slowly. Rachel wasn't slowing down. She was escalating. Spreading stories. Turning everything into blame. Which meant it was time for the final step. Because if Rachel wanted to turn the family against me, then she was about to learn something she didn't expect. Being cut off financially was only the beginning. About 3 weeks after the picnic, Rachel finally stopped acting like this was temporary. Until then she kept behaving like I would eventually give in. Like I would get tired of the tension and quietly start paying things again. That never happened. One Tuesday night my phone rang. Wait. I answered. Are you seriously still doing this? Yes. The landlord called today. That's normal when rent is late. She exhaled loudly. Stacy, I'm behind. I waited. You used to send it at the beginning of the month. I told you I wouldn't anymore. You were angry. I still am. She went quiet for a moment. You're hurting Tyler too. No, I said. You are. Another pause. You make good money, she said. Why are you being like this? Because it's my money. So you're just letting family struggle? You had months to prepare for this. For what? For the day I stopped. The next thing she said sounded almost confused. Mom and Dad won't help either. That's their decision. You told them not to. I told them my boundary. She muttered something quietly. What? You've changed. No. I haven't. Yes, you have. How? You used to care. I still do. Then help. I am helping. How? By forcing you to stand on your own. She hung up. A few days later my mom called. Rachel came by today. I figured. She's angry. She says you're destroying the family. That's dramatic. She cried. That surprised me. What did Dad say? He told her she should thank you. For what? For finally drawing a line. Rachel didn't accept that. She left. After that things went quiet. No more messages. No more complaints. Then one evening about a month after the picnic someone knocked on my door. It was Rachel. Tyler stood next to her with a backpack. She looked tired. Not annoyed. Not angry. Just tired. Can we talk? I let them in. Tyler went to sit with Lily in the living room. Rachel stayed in the kitchen. I got a second job, she said. Doing what? Diner. That's good. It's terrible. I believe you. She looked around the kitchen for a moment. I sold my TV last week. I didn't respond. And my car might be next. Then she looked at me. Are you happy now? No. That surprised her. I thought this is what you wanted. What I wanted was respect. She stared at the counter. I didn't think you'd actually stop helping. I know. And when you did, everything got hard. That's how responsibility works. She nodded slowly. I hate it. I know. Then she said something I didn't expect. But I think I finally get it. That was the first real change. A few days later she came back again. And that conversation is what finally fixed everything. Rachel came back 3 days later. This time she came alone. It was late evening. Lily was already asleep and I was in the kitchen finishing some work when the knock came. When I opened the door, Rachel was standing there holding 2 coffees. She handed me one. I figured you'd still be awake. I stepped aside and let her in. She sat at the kitchen table and looked around the house for a moment before speaking. I've been thinking about that day at the picnic. I waited. What I said was stupid. That's one word for it. She nodded. I was used to you fixing everything. That's the problem. I know. She took a sip of coffee. The diner job is awful. I work late, Tyler hates it, and I'm tired all the time. That's adulthood. She gave a small nod. For the first time I actually understand how much you were doing. Neither of us spoke for a few seconds. Then she said the thing I had been waiting to hear. I'm sorry. No excuses. No jokes. Just that. I leaned back in my chair. What exactly are you sorry for? For treating you like you owed me something. She looked down at the table. And for talking about you in front of Tyler. That part matters. I know. I already told him he was wrong. That's good. She looked at me again. I'm not asking you to start paying things again. That's good too. I just don't want things to stay like this. Like what? Like we're enemies. I thought about that for a moment. The truth was, the last month had changed a lot. Rachel had a job she kept. Bills she paid. Responsibility she couldn't avoid. For the first time in years she was actually handling her life. You're not alone anymore, she said quietly. What do you mean? You stopped carrying everyone. That was the plan. She nodded. Maybe it was the right thing. I took a sip of the coffee she brought. Probably. Rachel stood up after a few minutes. I should go. I work early. Before she left, she paused near the door. I'll fix things with Tyler and Lily. Good. And, thanks. For what? For not giving in. That was something I never expected to hear from her. Rachel left a few seconds later. The strange part was that things slowly got better after that. Tyler stopped repeating the things Rachel used to say. Lily started enjoying visits at my parents' house again. Rachel kept both of her jobs and eventually moved into a smaller place she could actually afford. Nobody asked me to pay their bills anymore. Family dinners felt normal again. And the best part was something my dad said a few months later while we were grilling in the backyard. He handed me a drink and said, "You know, that line you said at the picnic worked." What line? About everyone learning how unimportant you are. I smiled. Yeah. He laughed. Turns out you were the most important one the whole time. But the real change wasn't that they appreciated me more. The real change was that they finally stopped needing me to carry them.